Compact hybrid cars. There's just simply not that many cars available for sale, period, versus crossovers and SUVs. But these two really hit all the right numbers and the looks. The Honda Civic Hybrid and the Toyota Prius. Both have been out for a long time. Toyota for generations. Honda not quite so long and intermittently. But now for 2026, they're offering a lot of features. $40,000 max. These are the max trims that you can get. And inside and out, I'll tell you which car is truly the better hybrid. The Civic was brand new for 2025. The Prius brand new for 2023. We're testing both in hybrid form in their top trims. On the Civic, the Hatchback Sport Touring, and on the Prius, the Limited. The Civic Hybrid already comes as a well-equipped car. That's because the hybrid trims are only the top two trims that you can buy. And this is the very top, it's the Sport Touring. You're getting 18-inch wheels with some nice gray inserts. Boost blue paint, that is an extra. It's extremely loud, it really makes me think of the Civic Si, which this car, when we drive it, you'll understand why it should feel that way. But all around it, nice crisp lines, nice honeycomb textures on the grille. And this is the hatchback, not the sedan. For just a little bit more money, you get that nice fastback style, very much just like the Prius, with extra cargo space and just a prettier looking rear end. It's just swept back. I think it looks pretty classy. The Prius though, that one is even prettier. Can a Prius be pretty? Yes, for this generation, every single model has been. And I gotta say, it's so slivery looking, it's so sleek. Extra large windshield, short nose, really flat tail, like a race car, like the old cam tails of the 70s. This Prius is actually really cool. In supersonic red, it really stands out. That's an extra charge paint. We're driving the Limited, so it's got the 19-inch wheels, as do most Prius trims except the base LE, which still has 17-inch wheels and tires. And this car, with these LEDs stacked on top of each other, I like how the hood is aggressive, but there's not too many cut lines, because around the side of this car, you just notice how fluid the shape is, the way the fenders swell over the rear doors, the hidden door handles, and the nice black trim treatments on that back hatchback. The Prius never was about style, but now it's beating everyone, including the Civic Hybrid. The Prius is just over 2 inches longer. It also has a 0.6-inch increase in the wheelbase, but it's the Civic that's wider by about 0.7 of an inch. The Prius is also slightly taller at 0.6 of an inch. The Civic Hybrid simulates gear ratios, but it's actually a gearless transmission. This is a direct drive. Honda's two-motor system does not employ a continuously variable transmission, like on hybrids such as the Toyota Prius. Nothing of the sort. Instead, there's a clutch that's connecting a two-motor system with that engine. So the engine can power the axle on the front directly, mostly on the highway when it's the most efficient to use that gas engine. Otherwise, the Civic's 2-liter inline-4 is a generator. It's pretty spectacular. And by that, I mean 200 horsepower, quicker acceleration than the Civic Si, and just seamless. It really is. It's also quiet, and the rush of torque that you get, it's not like it throws you back in your seat. It's not the Type R. It comes on just very silently and just very linearly. I like that a lot. And you never hear the engine groaning. That is also such a big benefit here. So not only electric vehicle-like performance in terms of acceleration and quietness and smoothness, the power of Honda's performance Civic, the Si, plus efficiency. Look at those numbers, 50 city, that's fantastic. The only numbers that are gonna be a little better is if you choose the Civic Hybrid sedan versus this hatchback. Otherwise, I mean, is there any other better Civic right now? Is there any other better hybrid car? I am tending not to think so. In the Civic, driving it, it feels like there's a lot of space in here. Unlike cars like the Prius, which have a windshield that is so steeply angled and the dash and everything just kind of comes really at you, there's more open space. You can think of the Civic more like a Honda CR-V, which share a lot of the same dash and mechanicals, all of that. And you can get the CR-V as a hybrid, but I've driven that one. And you can watch our review of the CR-V Trail Sport, but The Civic Hybrid, I think, is quicker, it's quieter, it handles better. It just feels like a better car because it's a car. The added benefit of being a car is that the Civic is lower to the ground. And as good as cars like the Prius handle, Civic is just a bit better. You can think of Honda like the BMW of the economy segment in terms of chassis control. They are just always acing it. They really are. Steering feel, feedback, suspension compliance. And of course, being Honda, there's nothing insanely expensive going on here. It'll last a long time, but the feel is premium, and that's where it's key. On the Civic Hybrid, Honda even goes so far to put noise cancelers in the actual rims themselves. And that, at certain speeds, really makes the interior of this car extra quiet. But this car is fun. It's more fun than the Prius because it's elevated in terms of its NVH. There's less noise, there's less vibration, there's less harshness. All of those things make you feel like you're in a cheaper car versus a car like this, which is still actually more affordable than that Prius. But the feel you get is something more expensive, something more posh because of the delivery. So you can't just go by the price alone, and you can't just shop by brand anymore. You just can't. Cars like this are driving better than a lot of luxury cars at the low end. They are. There's less distinguishing luxury brands from cars like this Civic Hybrid, which are optioned up. Yes, you can get it cheaper, but getting this sport touring, just like that Prius Limited, you're getting a lot of features and you're getting a lot of refinement. It's just the Civic does it better. Years ago, fun-to-drive hybrids did not exist. The Civic Hybrid proves that you can have it all. For under $40,000, load it up, give you the content you want, good brake feel, great steering. I love this car, I really do. The Prius comes with a 2-liter inline-4 using all of Toyota's traditional hybrid methods, exhaust gas recirculation, the most efficient gas engine you can get in terms of all of the fuel that's being combusted and transitioned into actual energy and not just heat waste. And all the heat waste that does come out, Toyota does manage to extract a lot of that. What does that mean? Fuel efficiency as high as 57 city if you're getting the base trim with the smallest tires and wheels. That's the LE and front wheel drive. Most Prius trims are doing 52 across the board, which is still exceptional. This all-wheel drive Limited, 2 motors, making the worst MPG, if you can call it that. Still, incredible numbers. A combined 49 MPG. And if you want to go further, there's the Prius plug-in hybrid, which has some seriously good electric-only range and efficiency in electric mode that actually is better than a lot of pure EVs. On this car, it's the CVT that really makes you remember that this is, in fact, still a hybrid, but the momentum is good. There's just under 200 horsepower, 196 with the all-wheel drive dual motor. Most of the time it's operating on just that single motor up in front. And the rear motor is only activated when you really need it, when traction really requires it, say around a turn. It's noisy. The engine kind of revs up and down a lot and then it quiets down, but electric only speed is possible on the highway, 65 and above. And really, despite the noise, you're getting both efficiency and a lot of power. And this Prius generation is the only Prius generation that has ever delivered both. Unlike a full EV though, the Prius still has a lot of wind noise coming through. It's not the quietest car, but at least the ride is really well controlled, and the steering accuracy off center is also good. Steering feedback is pretty good, and Prius models were really, before this one, never really all that good. The last generation was. This one has definitely stepped it up. It's not like you're driving a Supra by any means, but it's still just good. It's really just light, but it has feel. You always know where you're in control in this car. A great thing about this Prius is that it handles very well. Grip is decent, but the body control is excellent, and that goes across all of Toyota's cars. and a lot of their crossovers. Braking is typical, it's kind of soft, a little mushy, but anyone who has been driving a Prius for the last 30 years knows exactly what it's like. It's still pretty confident. The Civic Hybrid has an airier cabin. It feels more open, and it also looks a lot sportier from the outside and from this driver's seat. Honda employs a more traditional looking dash with a smaller screen, a simple center stack. There's less going on inside here than all the different shapes and creases of the Toyota Prius, but I like the mesh of these air vents, and the quality on the door panels and this leather I think are a bit better. There's more headroom and legroom than the Civic Hybrid, about an inch more extra headroom if you're back here. But total passenger volume is actually down by 8 cubic feet. And this right here, this A-pillar, how the windshield is sweeping at my head, how all the controls are just kind of around me like this, I feel a lot more cramped inside this Prius. Otherwise, the layout is pretty good. It's less futuristic crazy like previous generation Prius models, but this one has a big touchscreen. It's got enough physical controls throughout the vehicle. I don't like the placement of the instrument panel, and I'll get to that, but all the other controls and the interior quality generally hold up well. There's no air vents and there's no heated seats, but there's more headroom, 0.7 inches. That's actually pretty significant. More significant, the legroom, 2.6 inches versus the Prius. That you're gonna notice. However roomy the Prius used to be, it's not like that anymore. It's tight back here. But saving graces on this limited trim, your own separate sunroof and heated outboard seats. Between these hatchbacks, it's the Civic Hybrid that has the bigger cargo hold, 24.5 cubic feet versus 20 in the Prius. A big part of that is a lower loading floor in this Civic Hybrid. I also like the fact that this over here, let me show you. You pull this across only when you need to cover cargo for privacy. It easily slides back, you never have to remove it, unlike this section, which can really get in the way. And the Civic Hybrid hatchback also has another piece here, which connects to that one when it's all down, so it all looks like it's one piece. Sounds complicated, but it comes off easier than the Prius. However, the Prius does have a power hatch, and you cannot get that at all on the Civic Hybrid. A 9-inch touchscreen comes standard on the top Sport Touring trims, also wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. All other Civic Hybrids come with a 7-inch screen, and it has more physical shortcuts here, which I actually prefer. But you get physical vents, you get physical climate controls. What more can you ask for? Well, there's Google Maps, there's Google integration here, I like that, and a lot of vehicle settings that are still in here. It's still easy to adjust, and there's a lot more features in here than the Toyota Prius. I like this system better despite the screen being smaller. Now, the one thing you won't get, Sirius XM, not even as an option. Honda is removing that from a lot of models. And thankfully, there are parking sensors on this model, plus a 12-speaker Bose stereo. Now this is how you design an instrument panel. It's all digital, but it's in this binnacle, so it's not washed out, and it's completely visible no matter where the steering wheel is set. That's just to be basic car design. Honda has nailed that. I like that. Some things you can customize, but it's pretty simple. You don't get full screen maps, but when your driver assists are active, it'll actually reduce the size of these gauges. It'll show you the lanes as they are curving. So that's all good. And even if you adjust driving modes, you get a little animation here and some changing colors. On the left-hand side, you can basically scroll through a lot of the audio systems here. So it's simple, but I like it. And it's easy to use right from the steering wheel. And again, always visible. The Prius has a 12.3-inch touchscreen, but only if you have the limited trim. That's where it comes standard. It's optional on some of the lower trims, including the XLE. There's some customization here. Of course, you can see the energy flow, which is a classic Prius feature. It's also on the instrument panel. Navigation, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. A JBL stereo on this limited model, which is definitely nicer. I like that. But there's definitely limited customization here. So if you go to Vehicle Customize, there's things here, right? But a lot of features you actually have to go into the instrument panel to use, which is a lot more confusing. I will say though, that a lot of the physical controls for the heated and cooled seats, climate control, and other buttons throughout the interior do make this welcome. This little instrument panel might seem better than the previous Prius where it was all across the dashboard and you had to look far over, but the steering wheel blocks most of the display, at least half of it, while you're driving. And you have to go here to adjust all these other settings, which I think would be better suited in to the main touchscreen where there's actually real estate, much easier to read, including just how the meter looks, right? All of these things are off older Toyota software, and I really think this should be updated, but the information is there, and if you so choose, the classic Prius features such as the energy monitor and the efficiency. EV driving ratio, the eco zone. These have been in Prius models forever. The EV icon is there. So really, there's nothing going on here that's a problem except visibility. You just can't see it based on the way this interior is designed. The 2026 Honda Civic Hybrid starts at around $29,000. There's 4 trims, each split between the sedan and the hatchback. As tested, this hatchback Sport Touring, $35,000. The 2026 Toyota Prius starts at $29,000. 4 trims, each of them has all-wheel drive as an option. As tested, this limited all-wheel drive with the limited premium package and extra charge paint, $40,000. It's taken 3 decades, but Honda has stolen the hybrid crown from Toyota. The Civic Hybrid proves that in a normal package, a normal car of normal sizes and shapes and everything that you're used to can achieve stellar fuel economy and very good performance while not costing all that much extra than other counterparts in the whole segment. There's not a lot of hybrids left, and the Prius is still very impressive, specifically in this generation. But the Civic is just more usable day to day, and it's a car that I really truly enjoy driving, hybrid or otherwise. Well, what do you think? What compact cars do you want to see us review next? Go to CarGurus.com, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.